Greetings. This is Robert Fuchs, and today our discussion will be that it's time for Latinos to get ready and vote, and it's time for them to go out and vote, and most importantly, to be informed. Just some statistics, about a third, or just under a third of Latinos within the last couple of years have been voting Republican and voting for Donald Trump. Just under a third have been voting for Donald Trump and registering as Republicans, and about a little bit over a third, about 40%, are voting for Republicans who are not for presidential candidates. And my concern is a lot of times Latinos aren't informed. One of the big issues for Latinos seems to be economics. They're concerned that one party is better at supporting economic advancements than the other. But what happens is a lot of times you ask them, what specifically do you not support about the policies of one party or the other, or support about the policies of one party or the other, and they can't explain it. They just have a feeling. And unfortunately, nowadays, no matter what group you belong to, this attitude of I have a feeling, or that's what I feel, but they don't back it up with any facts. Most Latinos, you ask them, well, did you know that one president, President Trump, had given a lot of tax breaks to corporations and the very rich? They don't know that. So they don't understand. Here in New York and places like California, if you own a home, used to be able to deduct the taxes that you paid, state taxes for your property, for your home, and now you can't do that because the tax law that was passed under President Trump. Most Latinos don't know that the problem we're having, or most people in the United States who are citizens or not citizens, don't know that the problem with inflation and this problem we have about shortages and prices of things, well, that happened right after COVID, and there was a shortage of things coming into the country. Prices of cars went up, prices of gas went up, and most people don't realize that it's been coming down. Inflation has been coming down for the work that's been done during the last 4 years. So it's not, oh, I feel things are better now, or they were better before. You can't go by feelings. You can't go by, oh, you have to really figure it out and try to be logical. Some president comes in and the economy's already going strong. Obama had a strong economy. Trump comes in and he inherits a strong economy. Then Biden comes in. So he kept continuing the strong economy. And sometimes things happen that aren't in your fault, either your fault, or they're not that you had done anything. They just stay well. And then we had COVID, and then we had everything was shut down. So that's of course going to create shortages, going to create product flow problems, getting things out. Now the economy's back to normal. Things are getting back to normal. And so the economy right now, the way it is improving, is really, something that took time. You had to do a lot of hard work, but it should continue well. In fact, whoever becomes president now, either Trump or Kamala Harris, they'll inherit what's already improving. The other thing, there's shortages of workers in this country. That's one area where if we had an immigration system that worked, that we would allow people who we need, workers, to come in and do the job that baby boomers were retiring to do. If we had a system that worked, that actually brought in these people legally, instead of forcing them to come to the border, we would have a better system. We would have a stronger economy because we would have the workers that we need. Now, I'm reading in the paper today that with the continued shortage of bus drivers, that's a job that you don't need to be born in this country. You just need to learn how to speak English and know how to drive and pass a driver's test for that type of driving. So, a lot of times I wonder if Latinos are informed. Not just Latinos, the population in general, a lot of times makes decisions on their feelings and not on on what's actually happening. The economy, a lot of times the president doesn't have control over that. The president does have control over putting people in the Supreme Court like Trump did and making it harder. A lot of the laws that were in place that have gotten weakened to help immigrants were because President Trump put in 3 conservative judges, changed the balance of the court, and made it harder for people who are in proceedings to win their case over things that for years were acceptable. Now, all of a sudden, you know, before you just have to prove you were a decent person, you weren't committing any crimes. Now you have to prove that you're actually doing good things. So, you know, those are things where a president has control, can affect, you know, whether you're pro or anti-abortion. That's something that got affected by those Supreme Court justices being in place there, and telling that states now can decide, instead of that it was the law of the land, that abortion was legal, and it was up to each individual, each woman, to decide whether they wanted to make that decision, whether you agree with it or not. The decision to do it was up to the individual who was going to use those services. Now, it's some person who has nothing to do with it can say, no, you're not gonna, I decide you can't get that, even though it's life-threatening, even though it's within, you know, 5 weeks or 6 weeks or 15 weeks, whatever. You know, now those decisions are being made. You know, and what happens is, unfortunately, we don't know if we're going to return to the time when women went to back streets and rich people went wherever they want, because nobody would know that they were getting abortions. So, you know, you have to be informed. There are big issues coming up. You have to vote. It's very important to vote. If you're a Latino, be informed. You know, a lot of the things, I'm just bringing up issues today. I'm not telling anybody to vote one way or another. I'm just saying that you should be informed. If you think the economy is better, well, why do you think one party is better than the other one? And be realistic and say what's really going to help the Latino community the most. And I think having immigrants enter legally and having a way to enter legally, and I think that's something we have to push for both parties to do, not just the one party. They're both at fault for the system we have now, and focusing just on making it impossible to enter and stopping people at the border. They should be focused on making a system that works. And I was involved with people who were trying to do that, and unfortunately, we didn't get far enough for that to happen. Thank you.